One is, what is the operative effect of this during all the months of the year when the armory isn't even operating? Second, why is it necessary to have the police issue a citation only to be later dismissed by the city attorney when there's a much more direct approach? Let's take the city of Richmond. I think city of Richmond's about a comparable size to Santa Cruz, north of San Francisco, and their prohibition says they prohibit sleeping, camping in certain public areas unless A, the person is informed of the whereabouts of homeless shelters in the city of Richmond, B, such shelter is actually available to such person, and C, such person willingly refuses to stay in such shelter. I think from an ACLU standpoint, that is a reasonable protection, and I'd like to ask Mr. Coonerty why that approach, which is more direct, it tells the police what they should do and what they shouldn't do, is not appropriate for Santa Cruz.
Well, I'll let somebody who's an expert in this, who's out there giving tickets, talk about it. But I do think I would say that this is another area where you look at the bright law on the paper, and then you look at what's in practice. The city of Santa Cruz has a homeless resource officer whose job it is to go out and connect people to services. We have a downtown social worker whose job it is to go out to connect people to services. We have downtown hosts who also connect people to services. We have people making that available, and we have another mechanism for dismissing the tickets. And so, in the end of the day, would I rather be homeless in Richmond or rather be homeless in Santa Cruz? I would say that if you have a homeless resource officer who's there and offering you, not only just telling you about available services, but offering to take you there and providing you with the support you need, I think it's better to be in Santa Cruz. So it may be a cleaner on the law, written in law, but in practice, I think it's more humane in Santa Cruz.
Why not do both?
I'd like to bring up an issue. If Santa Cruz is so magnanimous in their support of the homeless, the proof to me is in the pudding. Okay, we have somewhere around, I mean, it's really tough to tie down the number of homeless to a specific amount. They're saying that generally it's about 3% of the population, which would mean it's somewhere around 1,500 homeless. How many shelter beds do we have at any one night? Right now, I don't know, is the Armory open yet? No, the Armory's not open. So we only have about 150, I believe, beds available for 1,500 people. No matter how you want to cut this in terms of how wonderful we are and with all of these outreach people, when it comes right down to it, people have nowhere to sleep other than in the public. And that's the situation. The city would like to say, you know, oh, those liberal ACLU types, they want everybody to be able to sleep everywhere. No, that's not true. We want somewhere for them to feel safe. We have women and children and families out there who are hiding in the bushes, vulnerable to all kinds of attacks, and so set aside a place. Even LA, before the lawsuit, had parks that were open for sleeping. Criminalization of the homeless is poor public policy for many reasons. It's not cost effective. You have police officers doing things that they're not capable of doing in terms of outreach to mentally ill people and people who are drug addicted. The jails aren't ready to handle these. The entire criminal justice system is bogged down already, and it's just you know, imposing punishment for unavoidable activity is not only futile, because it's still going to go on, but it's inhumane. And I think that Santa Cruz, with their policy of not allowing people to sleep anywhere in public, and by the way, that's even in private, with the permission of the owner of the private property, if they are in view of the public. Not very many people know about that, by the way. You know, that to me is inhumane policy.
Okay, I'm going to, before you respond, and
Sure.
I know we have a lot to talk about here, I want to remind our viewers that this is a live show, and it is a call-in show. Our phone number is 425 no, is that correct? 8844. There it is on the screen, 425-8844. Please call if you have a question or a comment for our panel tonight. Tonight we're talking about the issue of homelessness and the law in Santa Cruz and the penalties that are provided and what can be done. So if you'd like to call, please do so. Ryan, you were about to say something.
Well, I want to say I agree. I think that having people not have shelter is a failure of basic human rights. The issue is how do you implement it? So when the city is required to provide 0 beds, and we require 250 beds during the winter months and 150 beds, as you correctly say, during the other months, as well as transitional housing, as well as motel vouchers and that sort of thing. Is that enough? How much more should a city that's required, isn't given any money by the federal government, isn't given any money by the state government in order to provide homeless services, how much more do we come up with, and why is only the city of Santa Cruz left to solve the problem? And the other part is, where do they sleep? So you don't want them sleeping on the beach, people sleeping on the beach, because then people are just camping out during the summer. You don't want people camping out in parks, along streets and neighborhoods. There's been task force after task force look for places for people to sleep. We've come up with the Armory that we pay to rent every month. But this is all, again, this is money that's given because people of Santa Cruz care and because they want to do something. It's not required. The county government is the function, the state government, the federal government. So we go out of our way. And the last part is, and this is the argument I made from the beginning, is that you need to maintain public support for homeless programs. And if you have either you lose the economic vitality of downtown, or you have people camping in neighborhood parks or on their streets, then I think you lose the public support to spend millions of dollars a year that could otherwise be spent on Parks and Recs programs, could be spent on road repair, could be spent on city workers, could be spent on any number of things. But the city people in Santa Cruz and their elected officials believe in supporting our homeless population. So I think it's not a perfect solution, but it is a solid effort by the city of Santa Cruz.
Before you respond, we do have a call. Fred in Santa Cruz, welcome to the program.
Good evening. Hello?
Yeah, please, welcome.
I was appalled by this recent apple moth spraying, the civil rights implication, particularly as it applies to the homeless people. The state said that they would notify the homeless shelters, so therefore homeless people would be they'd be notified so they wouldn't be sprayed. And I'm just hoping perhaps a class action suit or something. I'm interested in, they're all 3 lawyers, their opinion. You know, this is like a total violation of people's civil rights if you shouldn't be sprayed, and if you don't have a home, you get sprayed. I mean, it's bad enough you're supposed to close your windows and hold your breath, but interested in some comments on that from your panel there.
So he's referring to the light brown apple moth spraying program, which is the California Department of Food and Agriculture, I believe. The city. Testing that? You want to talk about that?
We sought an injunction to stop the spraying in the first instance until they did an environmental assessment that I assume would also include the impact on people sleeping outside. We lost the injunction, and now we're suing under the California Environmental Quality Act to force that before the next round of spraying, which will, I think, occur in March or April.
And I didn't check with him but I think we can make this public. Council member Ed Porter contacted me about this, and he's soliciting affidavits. Do you know about this, and do you want to talk about that?